Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with another knife review. We'll be looking at the Zero Tolerance ZT0393. Now I first saw this knife at SHOT Show 2018. I wasn't real excited about it, to be honest. But then I got home, started seeing some pictures online, did a little bit more of a deep dive into the specifications, and I started getting really excited about the knife. I liked the weight. I liked the fact that it was a production model, not a limited edition model, and of course it has some of the same hallmarks, being a Hinderer design that several of the other Hinderer design zero tolerance editions of the past have had. Kind of taking a walk back through memory lane, here's the Zero Tolerance 0550. This is the first Hinderer ZT collaboration. It's been discontinued for a while, but this was the first zero tolerance knife that I got. I've done some aftermarket upgrading to some of the hardware, to the G10 handle scale. That's a blue-black Hinderer scale that you can't get anymore. But this is the first one. This kind of started it all for me as far as ZTs. Still use and like this knife very much. More recently, one of my all-time favorite zero tolerance knives is this Hinderer designed 0562 CF. I have had this knife since it first came out, carried it and used it a lot. You're probably thinking that blade looks awfully clean and unused for a knife that supposedly is used a lot, and you're right. The reason why it looks so nice is because I recently sent this back to zero tolerance and got the blade replaced because it was pretty beat up. And I'm thrilled because they actually replaced it with a M390 blade, because M390 is my favorite blade steel. And I always tell people, if you're going to buy one ZT, this is probably the best one you can buy. It's just a little heavy in the pocket for me at about 5.5 ounces. The 0393 by comparison comes in at 5 ounces flat. I hoped that taking a ½ ounce off would make it more comfortable inside my pocket. Unfortunately, the ½ ounce isn't all that noticeable. A little bit, not much. But let's take a look at that blade that's on this knife. This is the CPM 20CB blade steel. This is chemically identical to M390, which is, in my mind, and a lot of knife aficionados feel the same way. M390 is about the best you can get with current technology, and it has been for quite some time. It really is my favorite blade steel in terms of edge retention, toughness, the ability to sharpen. Really do like that blade steel. It's got a Spanto grind, a Hinderer Spanto grind. You can see here that's supposed to make it a little bit better of a utility knife for doing things like prying, and it does have fairly thick blade stock, so you never want to use a knife to pry with if you can avoid it, but if you have to, you can with this knife. One of the things that really excites me about the knife is that what looks like thumb studs on the knife really are blade stops if you look where they come in. However, you can very easily deploy the knife with these blade stops or thumb studs or whatever you want to call them. I can do it with my right hand, and I can do it with my left hand pretty easily. I really like that. The 0562 CF, that's a lot harder just because of where the thumb studs are in relation to the carbon fiber handle on this. You can't really get any meat behind the thumb stud to be able to push it out. But you can do it on this knife. You've got some room there between the frame and the studs. And let me just say right up front that the combination of the tried and true Kai zero tolerance KVT bearing system and the fact that ZT really has their detents dialed in pretty well, this knife is a dream to flip. I've said for a long time that the 0562 CF was probably my favorite flipping action on a knife, or at least on a zero tolerance knife. And that's true. The 0393 comes darn close. When I first got it, it was a little tight. The detent was a little tight, which meant you had to put a little more effort into deploying it. Once you did, man, it snapped out with authority. But after flipping it for a few days, it's kind of worn in a little bit, and it's not quite as aggressive to get the action moving. So it's dialed in very, very nicely. Really nice detent. Really nice flipping action. Just by way of another comparison, here's the 0595. This is the sprint run version. Again, it has a harpoon shape similar to the blade shape on the 0393. Both, it's the same blade length, 3.5 inches. It's a little lighter than the 0562, coming in at about 5.3 ounces. So I tend to use this one a lot when I go to the range or when I go to competitions. It's a nice knife to come with me when I do that. But because of the weight, I don't often carry it to the office because I carry it inside the pocket, and a heavier knife, just kind of bulges and protrudes when you carry it inside the pocket, which is not ideal. I can make the knife work. I can make the 0562 work, in some pockets of dress pants when I go to work. It's just not ideal. And coming in at 5 ounces, again, it hasn't made a big difference in when I carry this inside the pocket than the other knives. I've really come to the conclusion you've got to be under 5 ounces. You've got to be closer to 4 ounces for it to be pretty comfortable and unnoticeable inside the pocket. So that's one of the reasons why I really like the ZT's 0850. It's a very lightweight knife. But again, very, very excited about this knife. When I first saw it at SHOT Show, I wasn't crazy about these G10 inlays. They've kind of grown on me. I can't say that they make the knife that much grippier than, say, this knife. It's really more about how the knife fits your hand, I think, than the material on the handle scales in terms of whether it's a strong or adequate purchase, no slip. Again, some jimping on the blade here that does help in terms of when you bear down on the blade. There's some jimping down here at the bottom of the frame. That, in my mind, that's more aesthetic. It doesn't really help with the purchase of the grip on the knife, in my opinion. It does have some really sharp anodized blue titanium handle scales. This is a titanium frame lock, steel insert, just like many of the ZTs have had in recent years. It really checks all the boxes for me in terms of what I'm looking for in a good daily driver knife that I can use for a number of different tasks, including a defensive purpose if needed. It's very important to me that the knife that I carry can function in a defensive scenario if, God forbid, I get in that situation. And I would have no concern about the 0393 in that scenario. So just in terms of the development of this knife, it's based on the Hinderer Eclipse, which I never really particularly cared for. Hinderer and ZT collaborated on a series of limited edition factory customs, if you will. The 0392, which is kind of the precursor to this model. They did several editions of those models that were all limited edition. And you could, kind of mix and match hardware with actual Hinderer replacement hardware. A lot of people wanted a production version of that knife. They didn't want to have to use their limited edition models. They wanted to be able to carry and use, much like I want to be able to carry and use a knife, hence the demand for the 0393. It does have that same ability to use some Hinderer replacement components. I saw a video online where a guy replaced the pivot, the this insert tab here, and he replaced the pocket clip with blue anodized Hinderer hardware, and I'm pretty tempted to do that myself. It looks sharp. I did like it. So that's another kind of feature benefit for this particular model, the 0393. You can use some Hinderer components. The jury's kind of out of whether you can use Hinderer standoffs because it looks like there is a size differential there that might not work. You might want to do some more checking. I'm sure in the coming weeks somebody will give it a try and let the community know, thumbs up, thumbs down, whether that will work. But again, very excited about this knife. It's going to be a great daily driver for me because it is a regular production model. I know I can use it, and if I get the blade all scratched up, it's no problem. I can, after some time, I can send it back to Zero Tolerance, and they'll replace the blade at a very nominal fee. So that's one of the things I really like about Zero Tolerance. Great customer service. That's why I like Zero Tolerance knives much better than working with Rick Hinderer knives. Zero Tolerance has much better customer service. Bigger company. They seem to care more about their customers, in my opinion. That's really all I want to say in this video, which is kind of a supplement to my written photo review that can be found on my website through my lens. You can actually find a link down below in the description box to the written photo review. I recommend highly that you go check that out. There's some great photos, some more technical details. There's also some recommendations on where you can buy the knife at the best price. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.